For the last 2 years, I've been mapping out Arkansas's public land and have visited some of its most incredible locations. All that work has culminated into this, my first ever feature-length movie. Through the highs and lows, I've gained a rich respect for this land and am honored to share these stories with you today. Join me as we experience the Arkansas wild. Everyone loves to share their highlight reels, the recoveries and discoveries, those top-performing thumbnail moments, but a trip like this is so much more than that. It requires a lot of forethought and planning. Meal prep is a huge piece of that process. My wife doesn't get to go on a lot of these trips with me. Anyone who knows my wife Summer knows I married way up. Even though she isn't on the channel much right now, she contributes behind the scenes every time. I got an early start Friday and made my way down to Clarksville. There, I would meet up with my buddy Michael and we would make our way north. Benji and about 10 others came in the night before from Texas, Missouri, Tennessee. They camped at a beautiful outlook on Devil's Knob. The weather was designed for camping. It was cool, calm, and slightly hinting at a storm. Once everyone arrived, we aired down the tires and hit the trails. I'm an 80s baby. Was raised around lots of big hair and mustaches. One thing that decade got right was kids' movies. E.T., The Goonies, Princess Bride, American Tail. Adventure was the focus. Going on a multi-day trip like this always takes me back to sitting on the living room coffee table after pushing my favorite flick into the VCR. I rarely watched the movie to the end. Those films were mere fueling stations, gassing up my imagination and sending me out for some solo backyard playtime. These water crossings take me back especially. I mean, who does this stuff? A bunch of grown men driving over rocks, through rivers, in mud, for what? Absolutely no reason other than the smile that comes across our face when we do it. There's no reasonable explanation for why we love this stuff other than it just feels like being a kid again. The nostalgia may or may not have impacted the music selection on this video. Maybe. With all the rainfall we had received across the previous weeks, some crossing levels were less predictable. So we were taking our time. Some of the guys in our group were new to overlanding and running at or close to stock. The last thing any of us wanted was to get someone waterlogged. So we gave each rig space and time to cross at their comfort level. Last and definitely not least, we had the bone stock 2015 Nissan Xterra. I'm not gonna lie, I got nervous on this one. It was this moment right here when the water kissed the headlights. Let's just say about 10 guys were puckered pretty good. But cast your doubts and worries aside, dear brethren, the mighty Xterra lives. Typically, I prefer to run in smaller groups. The more rigs you have, the longer everything takes. Due to the group size, much of the ground we had hoped to cover on day one had to be cut short as the sun was setting quickly. I didn't get a ton of footage from this day, but my buddy Benji did. Check the description below for links to his 2-part series on the trip. It's really good. The views on this trail near Pilot Rock are just stunning. Unfortunately, Kelly sliced a tire on a protruding rock, which we tried to patch. It lasted a few miles, but ultimately had to be replaced. The process took way longer than we wanted. I'll spare you all the cussing and butt crack. Just know this. It's a full-size rig with an impressive camper and was pushing 10,000 pounds. So jacking that thing up took some time. Eventually, though, we rolled into camp late that night and tried to get some rest. Day 2 was going to be about making up ground, and I, for one, couldn't wait.
Close your eyes, hear the voice within, calling. This heavy load got under your skin, hauling. You got the white knuckles holding on it tight, keeping your feelings bottled up inside, heading for collision in the night. To really live, you gotta die. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors, colors, right.
I went over the comms and told the group I was going to break away from the convoy and speed up ahead on the trail. The goal was to get out in front, enough to set up my shot so no one would have to stop and wait. I was rushing on a new trail, which was dumb, and I paid heavily for it. This looks like a mud hole, but it was actually mostly rock on bottom. The issue was a few large rocks submerged on the deep side that I couldn't see. When I rolled into the pit, I got high-centered on a rock and couldn't crawl off of it. At first, the door seals were holding up, but eventually, water started making its way in. Even now, this is painful to watch.
Well, it's not supposed to look like that.
It's unspooled. I'm not that strong. That's probably enough. That's been the trend, right? Could be me. I'm gonna go in the house and get one stuff.
No one wants something like this to happen, but the risk is always there. The truth is, it really wasn't that huge of an ordeal to fix. I used my spare clothing to soak up most of what wasn't drained. When I got home, I hired a detail company to steam and shampoo everything. Today, she looks good as new. But in that moment, it wasn't fun. My mishap, though, was only the beginning, as it would turn out. As the day progressed, the creek currents at each crossing picked up momentum. The topography in the Ozarks is such that the water levels can rise quickly. Mountains and hills tend to slope downward on steep angles, which can cause water runoff to feed the creeks and rivers below. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of rain to make some of these crossings impassable. Additionally, even a few days after the rain has subsided, that runoff continues to impact both current speed and depth. Most of us were feeling pretty confident and comfortable. It helps when you see all the rigs handle the water with ease throughout the day. However, feeling confident should never equate to feeling complacent. The second you let that apathy creep in is typically the time when danger strikes. As the last rig approached the crossing, that confidence we all had was soon to dissipate. Our friend Destin entered the water in his Cherokee like he had multiple times that day. Only this time, something went wrong. This is not something you ever want to see. Destin was wedged between two large rocks. He couldn't move forward or backwards. As you saw with my truck, door seals can only hold so long. With the water moving so fast, if it was to make it into the cab, you could lose the truck in a matter of minutes. Time was not on his side. You can see Destin frantically trying to get loose. Notice Eli in the background start to run for help. His rig was parked back there, and it was becoming more and more clear that we were running out of time.
Hey, is his driver's side front wheel spinning?
Destin says it was about this moment that he looked down and realized something. When he had come down off that large rock, the jolt had knocked him out of four-wheel drive. Once he got it back engaged, he was able to climb over the rocks that had him pinned. A frightening near miss.
There it is. Keep going, keep going, keep going. I don't think he did either.
After the stress of the previous two incidents, I think everyone was ready for a bit of a break. But Benji said, "Not today, fellas."
Yeah. You can park by Mountain Dew. I'm always looking for new trail leaders.
Send It Sally hit the rut so hard he blew a bead. Typically in a situation like this, we would just throw on the spare. The issue here is Benji's spare is primarily intended for an all-out emergency. It's not super roadworthy, and there's still a lot of interstate driving he was going to have to do tomorrow. So we needed to figure out a way to get the tire back on the wheel. At the same time as all this was going on, another group of 5 or 6 started coming in from the other direction. They hit a mud hole so deep it waterlocked their engine. They were doing an oil change while we were working on Benji's tire. A narrow trail pushing 20 rigs. This was a mess.
You're good. Keep coming. It's about to come up. Oh, I gotta pull this in. You got like a cloth or paper towel or something to wipe the mud out of the bead? Good idea. Hopefully the inside bead's still seated, so.
You want to go play in that mud hole? Drop a pin.
Drop a pin.
You're on your own.
It's been a while.
Hey, look.
I haven't been around any tundras lately. They're really taking abuse. She's heavy. She'll pop on there, you think? Where's Eli? Gonna pull the valve stem core out, stick the compressor on it. Luckily, the inside bead is still on the wheel, so I'm gonna try to get some air in there and pull it out and see if it'll beat up.
What's your nose brakes? You know
I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna fall. Hold it up. 20 more. Probably. It just depends on the tire, man. When you're down and out, have a do.
First trip, overlanding, experiencing this out in the Ozarks. What are your thoughts?
It's legit.
As we sit here in the mud.
It's been an adventure though, but it's been cool. I've enjoyed it. I got to the river crossing was my favorite.
Yes, that was epic.
That was awesome. I'm basically a professional overlander now.
Basically.
So that thing was doing nothing. Use your gauge and $90.
Victory at last. The tire was back on, full of mud, but on. Look, you can't be picky out here. The runner was drivable, so it's a win. We spent the next 20 minutes dodging rigs and getting out of this claustrophobic swamp. I couldn't have been more ready for camp and dinner. We were so close, I could taste it. My parents and grandparents took us camping a lot as kids. Those memories are some of my favorite. I remember learning at a young age the key to sleeping well while in the woods is to make sure you go to bed tired. After the repeat recoveries of the day, my body was done. I knew as soon as my head hit the pillow, I'd be snoring. Those are some of the best nights camping.
Well, it was like you owned it, the stage was yours, didn't want it. It's about the hottest thing I've ever seen. Now when I saw you, knew that
Put up some jambalaya.
Jambalaya.
Sure.
Smells so good.
And I'll have a little paperwork with it just for blade care info and stuff. I saw another knife maker that does like a certificate of authenticity, and I was like, that's cool, I like that, I'm going to do that. So that I include all that together. So, and then I've got these belt clips. If you want one, I can include that with this as well. They're just in the truck.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, man.
sweet.
Yeah, we'll do it up.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
ooh, baby.
I said my goodbyes the next morning and parted from the group. I returned to town to shower, clean the truck interior, and get supplies. My mission wasn't complete. There was one last stop I wanted to make, a spot trucks can't go. You've got to hike to get there. So I loaded my backpacking gear in the truck and met up with Jacob and Will, and the three of us headed south towards Mount Magazine. So what is this place that I wanted to visit? Rumor has it that deep down a steep, rocky cliffside near the base of Snake Knob, there's an old bluff shelter with walls made of stacked rock. It sits on Clear Creek and is completely hidden from view from almost any direction. I've never been, and the available history on the spot is difficult to come by. But if you're willing to believe the local legend, you would call this place the Civil War hideout. If it was actually a place men hid to stay alive in the mid to late 1800s, then that has some pretty wild implications. Others say it was actually used for moonshine in the early 1900s. It could just be a children's fort. The truth is, no one knows for sure. But it is old. It is hidden. And frankly, it's kind of spooky. We had given ourselves plenty of time to reach the base and still have sunlight. What we didn't anticipate, being surrounded by steep mountains, was just how quickly the sun would be blocked from view. It would be totally dark much sooner than we had expected. We picked up our pace, but not so much as to risk falling. Getting hurt down here, well, let's just say you don't want to do that. We looked for a spot to set up camp, but the area is not conducive for tents. If you camp down here, I highly recommend packing a hammock. There's no level ground anywhere. It's all rocky, difficult to stake. But Jacob and I found two rocks that were about as good as we were going to get. So the three of us made camp. I decided at the start of this year I wanted to mix in more backpacking trips. Besides the obvious health benefits, there are just so many incredible places in Arkansas that you can't get to in a truck. Sure, I've done my share of the whole park and hike thing, but for me, part of the fun in getting to these super unique remote spots is staying there overnight. Setting up camp in a place most wouldn't, feeling truly off-grid. You can't fully experience Arkansas without taking some trips like this. My kids and I have hiked trails before, and I've seen some beautiful areas that I would have loved to camp at. But it wasn't an option since I didn't bring the necessary gear. This spot is a prime example of what I'm after. I mean, look at it. A big advantage of being off the trails, especially if the hike is more difficult, is that you rarely encounter any sort of trash. The people that litter sites, the bushlight mafia as we call them, are typically looking to put out the least amount of effort possible. I mean, they can't even be troubled to bend over and pick up their beer cans. That crowd isn't going to hike to a spot like this, and that makes it even more special to me. Each rock formation, the falls, the tree coverage, the smells. I think this is what God intended. I love modern conveniences as much as any of us, but sometimes that cloud of comfort can fog out the things that really matter. I'm well aware of the irony of saying all this in a YouTube video. I guess my point here is balance. It's both and, not an either or. Man, what a gift to be here. There's something I've not been telling you. Something I saved until now. There's a reason we picked this specific spot to camp. About 30 feet up the hill is the hideout. What seemed typical and historical by day was now unnerving and eerie by night. I knew I wanted to get shots inside of it, but nightfall had me second-guessing that. Too many 80s horror movies, I guess. But I pushed aside the childish fear, and we proceeded.
They call the falls here window falls, and it's because you can see them right through the window of this structure. You know, there's not a lot of history about it. I did some research trying to determine, a lot of people call this a Civil War hideout. I haven't been able to find anything definitively that says that that's what this actually was. It's likely that it could have been used by moonshiners. It definitely appears to be old, but there's just not a lot of information out there. It's hard not to let your imagination run wild, though. And here's what we do know. We do know for a fact that right after the Civil War, Southern neighbors of Union sympathizers were hunting those people down and killing them. We actually told the story of a guy named John Fritz out in Madison County that this happened to. Keith Fritz, a descendant of his, actually reached out to me after we posted that video and confirmed the whole story. And it was just a wild thing. He happens to be a guy who lives out in this area, is out here overlanding and camping and stuff. So that was an amazing connection. But anyways, we know that Union sympathizers in the South are being hunted down and killed. And many of those people fled to the hills to keep that from happening. And so when you come across a structure like this that potentially dates back to that period, it seems like it's a plausible idea that this could have been used for that. But I haven't found any history confirming it. If you guys know of any, some sort of definitive research that's been done, reach out to me in the comments, let me know. I would love to know more about it. Based on my research, nothing definitive. However, it's just incredible being in a spot like this that's so old and imagining what it could have been used for. Really, really neat. And that's why we wanted to come out here, hike down here, and show this to you guys. I've seen lots of different people post pictures of this area. My buddy Taylor, he's done a video of this area, and we just wanted to come down to the spot and really dig into it and let it kind of soak into the imagination. Imagine what it might have been like. It's a cool spot.
We've got some nice white noise, the water running right by here. Obviously we're hoping that it doesn't raise and soak us in the night. That would be disappointing. Hopefully we stay dry. See what happens. See you tomorrow.
Morning, we are fixing to have us some breakfast skillet. These type of meals are not really my favorite. They're really not good at all. Okay, I'm gonna model the latest fashion in the Ozark National Forest fashion world. This is called the hot air balloon look. It really shows my figure well. Also, it's good for avoiding hunters. If a hunter shoots you in this, that was just murder. One added benefit is if you jump off a cliff, you will fall slowly.
As our journey came to a close, we still had one remaining challenge: the menacing climb back up.
I'm out of breath. This is not an easy hike.
How steep?
So this hike is more difficult than I was anticipating. With a pack, it was hard going down, but going up is difficult. But this is good for me. That's what I keep telling myself. Good exercise. Hopefully it's gonna make a good video, so it's gonna be worth it. But I'm winded. Let's keep going. Oh, see the truck. The end is near.
We are moving way too slow for the interstate. That is not 70 miles an hour, but I should get through this pretty quick. Met up with Jacob, you can see him right here in front, and we are gonna go meet with my buddy Chad, who I've never camped with. I've done a round table with him, met him at lots of different events. We've run into him in the woods, never camped with him. So it just felt like it was the right time. So he's coming for Conway. They're a lot closer. We're going to the Big Piney and actually a spot I've never camped at. We're gonna go meet up with them. Got my son with me, chilling in the back. It's gonna be a good trip.
After a summer of Arkansas camping, I can confidently say Green Day got it wrong. Wake me up when September begins. It's a magical month in the Ozarks. Temps drop at night and it gets cool enough for a fire and sweatshirt. In the afternoon, the warm sunshine makes you want to hit a swimming hole. I camp year round, but always try my best not to miss September. It's that perfect balance, a real sweet spot in the climate. After navigating the rubberneckers on the interstate, we finally were on the dirt. Full disclosure, it took us a while to make it to camp, and by the time we arrived, it was dark. We decided to skip the filming for night number 1, so what you're seeing here is actually the next day. We had a loose route planned, and by loose, I mean go west. I knew where I wanted to end, but how we got there, that was part of the fun. People get really tied up in planning routes, and I get it. There's a certain appeal to that, but for me, I love to just go. Sometimes that means clearing down trees or doing a 90-point turn and backtracking, but that's part of what draws me in. If that tire on Chad's truck was just a few more inches to the left, that would have been a $4,000 whoops. But risk it for the biscuit, as they say, the show must go on.
The camera survived. Next time we do something like that, that's literally why we have $300 GoPros and not.
Yeah, but the quality is not the same.
If you haven't visited Pilot Rock, you need to. There's a hiking trail that goes up to the top, and I'm told you can backpack up there and camp. I think that would make a killer video. What about you guys? Should we do an episode like that? Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far, consider liking and subscribing. It just takes a second or two and it really helps me out. But enough of all that. Let's get back to the adventure.
Y'all can run through it if you want to, and I'll get up here and film it, but I'm not going to run through this. It smells like rubber.
I'm sorry.
Smells like a drag strip out here.
Hey, how many people would do this in a two-wheel drive, though?
Good point.
And risk breaking something.
Good point.
So,
But there's nothing that you can break that you haven't already broken.
that's true.
I recently listened to an interview with the New York Times best-selling author Donald Miller. In the conversation, he was discussing a film that had been made about his life. When he reviewed the script, he noticed several embellishments. Some elements were mere exaggerations of actual events, while others were pure fiction. Clearly, the writers had taken some liberties with the story to make it more interesting. That's when Miller made a profound observation, and it continues to camp in my mind to this day. He said, maybe I should have lived a better story. I I think he was probably going for a laugh, but there's some deep ideas in that comment that we need to unpack. If someone made a movie about my life, would they need the writers to spice it up a bit? Maybe add some drama, create a few cliffhangers? I mean, do I set high goals and put myself out there? Am I playing it safe or risking it for the right reasons? The truth is, we could all be living a better story. In 2020, many of us did a factory reset. The world kind of hit the pause button, and we had the distractions and routines of day-to-day life sort of turned off. Some of us replaced those things with the news and fear. Others turned to the bottle, food. But ultimately, I think we landed on the other side and started to look inward. I know for me, I started asking myself hard questions that were previously really easy to ignore. Questions like, what traits am I modeling for my kids that I don't want them to have? What things am I teaching them that they're gonna have to unlearn later in life? And the big one, what story am I writing? Ultimately, this channel and these trips, they are all the result of that introspection. I want to leave my friends and family with these sorts of memories. Years and years after I'm gone, I want them to smell a campfire or hear the crickets, feel the cool water rush across the tops of their feet, and remember this. A good story doesn't have to be important. It just has to be good. Things are so much more black and white when you're young. As you age, it all sort of just blends into the gray. But I'm learning to be okay with that. To focus on the here and now. To fully embrace this moment. And maybe, if I get lucky, make a little heaven on earth.
What happened?
Somebody was being irresponsible with a drone, and I'm not gonna mention his name.
Oh! It wasn't me.
I'm not dropping names here, okay?
So the nice part about this is the water is refreshing. Fortunately, the shots weren't completely in the dark. Oh, I gotta take my phone out. This light is actually helping me see the rocks down here a little better. Oh, dude, this is embarrassing. Not even a little bit. Ooh, the manhood just got wet. We are officially across. Is it up in a tree?
In my hand.
Oh. Okay. Oh, that thing's hot. Okay, so I mean, I lost the propeller, which is not a big deal. That's easy to fix. Bro.
You're lucky. DJI sponsor us.
Dude. Good eye, Jacob. We got it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, happy about that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Woo!
Everyone can hear you, Dad.
Dude, there's nobody out here. Going back across the creek. Oh.
It's a little bit chilly. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's kind of chilly. It's pretty chilly.
Just don't think about what we're climbing through right now. That's delicious and nutritious.
There's an animal coming out of the water.
It's a Sasquatch! We found him! She has survived. With the cigar.
When it gets stuck, it just takes a long time. You're close.
Oh!
Hey!
Boom!
Might as well keep going, right? Yeah.
Watch. There, he did it.
That was the meat.
There we go.
It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I just didn't want to. So we turned around and went to a spot that he found my YouTube channel at. More or less. That spot that I camped at, and then you guys came after the day later.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah,
went
yeah.
there.
Right over there, west side.
That bachelor trait.
Yep.
Dude, my buddy, man, he would have freaked out on that trail we went in that brand new Forerunner. He'd have been freaking out.
That's
There's
not a
no
trail
way.
you want to take somebody on the first time that they kind of get out and start experiencing those.
He's been out, like he has a Tacoma.
Oh, okay.
He goes out quite a bit, but he's never done crap like that before.
First gen Tundras were supposed to be bulletproof, and then I'm out here, now, don't hope I'm two-wheel drive, busting every front end part I can.
Amazing night camping. We just broke camp, got all packed up. Jacob and Chad are heading home, and I'm heading to Little Rock. Gonna pick up my buddy who flew down from Chicago, and I'm super pumped about this. We are heading to the Blanchard Springs Caverns. Now, this is a spot that I visited as a kid. I've got like these vague images and pictures in my mind, but it's been so long, I don't remember it. So I'm really pumped about this. We booked the long tour. They've got a couple different ones. We did the long one. It's like a mile or two, 300 plus feet down. I mean, I'm pumped. So we're gonna break camp, head to Little Rock, pick him up. Not gonna film any of that. Next thing you see, we're gonna be at the caves.
Back in my college days, I did a semester abroad in Florence, Italy. We took the train to Rome, and one of our stops was St. Peter's Basilica. When I entered through the doors, my knees literally trembled from the sheer size and grandeur. It was a physically overwhelming experience that has never occurred to me since. That is, until this day. We entered an area of the cave they call the Cathedral Room. It's really hard to describe this, and it definitely doesn't translate well to video and pictures, but it's over 1,000 feet long, 6 stories tall. My son was struck with fear as he saw it and almost backed out of the rest of the tour. It's truly amazing. The limestone rock from which the cave was developed was formed by fossilized sediment from sea creatures at the bottom of an ancient inland sea, estimated to exist about 350 to 500 million years ago. When prehistoric land masses shifted, the seabed was uplifted to form the Ozark Plateau. The exposed land was shaped by the elements, wind and rain, into mountains and rivers. When the slightly acidic rainfall penetrated cracks and crevices in the limestone, cavities were formed. Water entered, enlarging the cavities as it flowed through and filled them. As the water cut its way downward, seeking lower levels, it left hollow, air-filled caves. Dripping water from above then deposited calcium carbonate and other minerals to form the cave features and formations, which continue to change as long as the water continues to drip. While the first documented visit was in 1934, signs of earlier human exploration discovered in the caves, such as cane and wood torch remains, they've been scientifically dated all the way back to 215 AD. In places like this, I'm always overcome by just how finite and small my place is in this world. To quote Whitman, "The powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse."
This is called a burned brat.
Oh, fun!
Good job.
6 kids, 3 dads, 2 friends, and a dog. This is how you wrap up a solid trip. S'mores and 22s, brats and Capri Suns. I tell you, I'd rather do this than just about anything. It's not for everyone, I guess. I know some people don't understand the draw.
I will take it.
All I can say is that when I head home, I feel like I'm leaving a part of myself in these hills. He may be untamed and uncivilized, but he's free and wild. Solid prep work before a big trip is the unsung hero of overlanding. The kind folks at Oxedo sent over a couple of their 7-inch driving lights just in time. We got them wired up in the driveway, finished packing, and hit the open road. We arrived at Still Hollow on Indian Creek late and made camp. The next morning, we took our time waking up and enjoying the cool morning air, but once the caffeine buzz was in full effect, the 9 of us followed the route south to Newton Hill. Most of my wheeling is 2 to 3 rigs tops. Moving in a larger convoy slows down the amount of ground you can cover, but boy, does it make the drone shots look cooler. We pit stopped on top of the hill to take in the views and then continued on to Old Highway 7. It was a perfect day, really. What could possibly go wrong?
We had a little incident. I'll show you what we've got going on.
What happened, bro?
Howdy. I am praying that it is only a CPS.
CPS.
Crankshaft position sensor. This guy goes on top of bell housing. So, and there's no way to trick it, no way to bypass it. It's get new and pray.
Otherwise, we got to drop a pin. Ain't that right, Benji?
Those are the rules. You're a gentleman in the sky, huh?
All right, Dustin.
Yo.
I just installed this.
You installed it. Done.
Done. All right, let's go. Crank it up.
Cranked up, so that's a good sign.
Back up and running. For now. From the highway, we set our eyes north and climbed up Millsap until we hit the Wainscott Bottoms. Your ears pop basically non-stop on this climb, but the view's worth it and its name is fitting. I featured this location in 3 or 4 of my videos, but I just can't help it. It's almost like it calls me back. They call this spot Pilot Rock.
Destin is thinking he might have his wife drive his truck down, and they'll rent a dolly and tow his Jeep home.
Okay, well, you guys heard it. Big bummer. Destin is officially out. Not sure exactly what's wrong. The parts that we got from O'Reilly's didn't solve the issue, and his truck stopped again. So it sounds like he is gonna have to trailer it back home and work on it, which is just a huge bummer for him, bummer for us. But that's that's part of this. Sometimes you break down and you gotta do what you gotta do.
The show must go on. With heavy hearts, we continued towards Hess Knob, weaving in and out of the trails. Coming down this steep incline, I felt my brakes give and almost had to pull the emergency brake. The pedal seemed loose, squishy almost. Something was off. The issue improved some as I hit level ground, so I ignored it. Word of the wise, never ignore soft brakes. A lesson I'll learn the hard way a bit later on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Soon we hit pavement, crossed the Highway 12 bridge, and continued upstream. This is one of my favorite bodies of water in the Ozarks. I camp on it every chance I get. There's just not a bad spot out here. So we put it in park on the gravel banks of the Big Piney.
Reaction shot. Oh, that's good. The size of like any of these rigs. Yeah. Walking past these people, and then it pulls out like it looks.
I wanted to show y'all real quick the inside of this tent. I'm being quiet because there are people sleeping nearby. But wanted to show you the inside of this tent, kind of how it's set up. So I've got a little flashlight here and I'll shine this around. So this is like storage bags or compartments, which I use for, I've got a battery in here to run this light. And it also is charging my watch and phone, which I keep over there. And this is kind of cool. It has this clear pocket here. You could stick a iPad or something if you want to watch a movie. The space in here is just great. I'll show. I added this. This is the X-Pad Duo, which it fits perfectly in here. Here's a little hand pump for it. But it fits perfectly in here and just adds a little bit of, adds a little bit of comfort.
Gonna shut this off, get some sleep, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. Got another full day ahead. I'm excited.
Absolutely incredible night last night. The rain came in and kind of like settled all the dust down, brought in a little bit of a cold front. And man, I slept like an absolute baby. Like one of the first ones in bed and one of the last ones out. One of the guys commented he thought I was dead. You know, it's nights like this that just make me love doing this all the more. Cool story. So Dustin, I originally told you guys he wasn't here with us. You may have noticed in some of the footage, you see his red Cherokee. A guy pulled over on the side of the road, saw him broken down, and said, dude, I've got a shop at my house, and I can help you out. So they flatbedded him to this complete stranger's house. Guy got his Cherokee up and running, and he was able to join us. Just a crazy set of events, but super stoked to have Dustin back in the mix. Now, another little breakdown issue we had, Wade has some issues with his Lexus, and we had to run into Russellville to O'Reilly to get some parts. So Michael and myself and Wade are gonna head straight to Birds. We're not gonna do a bunch of the wheeling today, and then we'll meet up with everybody tonight and continue on the journey for day 3. Such an incredible trip so far, but I'm excited to see what's next. Just because it wasn't a wheeling day for me didn't mean the rest of the group had to pass. The other half headed down the Union Trail to 1409. I've run this one up and down, dry, wet, and ice. It's claimed my factory bumper and provided more than a few skid plate scuffs of honor. While these fellas painted their rigs brown, we set up at Birds. Now, if you know the spot, you may be surprised that we actually paid for camping. Obviously, most of the stuff we do is primitive. Here's the deal. 3 days in, and a hot shower and toilet become an alluring luxury that causes even the strongest among us to falter. We settled into camp and prepped for day 4, which would prove to be the hardest day on the trails yet.
Oh, you're good. I'm just taking it.
Before the trip, I got a text from Benji saying, download Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And Blazing Saddles. Apparently, he had the brilliant idea of doing a movie night around the campfire. This was a first for me, but I gotta say, it was pretty cool. At sunrise, we took advantage of the shower house access and made our morning Joe. As it turned out, we would need every ounce. The 3-hour trail ride we had planned would take us well over 9. Remember those soft breaks I mentioned earlier? Yeah, stay tuned for that.
Go nuts for your donuts.
I'll say something one time. Open your mouth.
You moved. I didn't know this was a hibachi grill.
Saki.
It goes by many names. Well Cave Road, Hanging Rock Hollow, Prong Pass, and probably the most common, 60 Footfalls. This is a down and back trail and it's technical. In 2021, I high centered on a stump coming out of a mud hole and smashed up my transmission. It hobbled along for a while like good Toyota parts do, but eventually had to be replaced. Every time I've run this trail with a group, somebody's had trouble. I've seen differentials explode, tires slashed, and trucks waterlocked. I've actually seen one truck almost laid over on its side, both passenger windows shattered. Look, like any trail, if you know the line, you're good. The issue down here is the drainage. Prong Creek flows down Fly Gap Mountain into the Mulberry. All the drainage from the northern elevation meets along the base of this trail, and it floods annually. The landscape is always shifting. A good line in the summer of 22 could be a death trap today. The reward definitely outweighs the risk. Hanging Rock Hollow is beautiful. But today, my goal was simple. I wanted to complete the route unscathed. A sort of 2024 redemption route, if you will.
man. This is so sketch.
I'm watching you, Caleb. You're good on your side, on the passenger side.
Need a change of drawers.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That was tight. Oh man, I forget. And this area has been obviously really run through with probably like four-wheelers and side-by-sides because it is so much more chewed up than I remember.
On fire and ready to go out there, gonna tear it down. There is no one here who can stop me. Never hit the ground. If it shows I'm weak inside, there is nowhere left to go. All I can do is run and hide. 'Cause I've been running this world without you, with no help at all, one way to fall, living this nightmare all through. What's new? I'm making without you, with no help at all, one way to fall, living this nightmare all through. What's new? I'm making without you. I'm making without you.
Enough of the hair metal. We arrived at Hanging Rock Hollow. Now, this is one of those places that pictures and words just don't do justice. I've thought a lot about this, and I think it's because there's a feeling you get in a place like this that just can't be conveyed through pixels. No, I try, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting close, but it's never quite there. I've said this before, and it's gotten me a few strange stares, but I don't care. Natural waterfalls are a sacred thing. That persistence over millennia, I think it deserves some respect.
Perfect. Keep it going. Keep it going. Good. Faster, you're out.
We backtracked until the trail turned north and then headed towards Fly Gap Road. This was easily the most challenging part of the route. The rigs were running hot and had spent significant time at a steep angle. To make it worse, my brakes were shot.
I noticed yesterday my brakes were getting super squishy. They just a lot of air in the line, and I was having a hard time stopping, which is not a good thing. Climbing up this hill, we actually didn't even film the worst portion of this because everybody is struggling to get up this. It's just a very gnarly climb, very abusive on the vehicles. We've got multiple trucks overheating, transmissions overheating. My truck was doing the safety shutdown. Mike's Tacoma was doing a safety shutdown. Jacob's just spitting transmission fluid. So the trail is just way more technical than it has been in years past. So that's partly due to just people driving it a lot, which is great. We're glad it's getting used, but we did not anticipate this level of wear. So let me show you the issue that I've got. All right, as you can see, I am just bleeding brake fluid all through there. And so what we've done is I called my buddy Chase to help me rebuild this, and we put some vice grips on the line to hopefully stop losing any more fluid because I'm already low. And Jacob is going to get his truck. He and I are going to try and get to O'Reilly
to get the parts we need. First of all, we need brake fluid, obviously, because I'm running low. But to get the parts, we need to actually fix this, take it apart and stop the leak. He thinks that's something that we can do on the trail. So he's going to take a bypass to try to get up here quicker, and hopefully we can get this thing fixed. But this is a frustrating situation. All right, we just got down here to pavement and check this fluid level real quick. Let's see what this is looking like. See if the vice grip is still holding. So that's still on. That's good. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up and start airing up, and then we'll see if we can get to the parts. We made it to O'Reilly's in Ozark. You see right over here. So they were kind enough to leave the parts we needed in the back of one of their work trucks because they were closing by the time we got here. But this is why it's good to have mechanical friends, because I'd be screwed in this particular situation. We are going to attempt to replace the rear brake cylinder. When I'm by we, I mean Jacob. I'm going to stand here and film him and get him cookies and drinks and whatever he asks for.
I was going to say, you're using the term we very loosely.
Yes, very, very loosely. Extremely loosely. We're cheerleaders. Michael and I are cheerleaders. A couple of months back, Jason from Ozark 4x4 reached out to me and said they were doing some guided tours. It's similar to like what Express Rally does. You know, they plan a tour, you pay to go, you get your food covered, you get a little video made of the trip, kind of that deal. Jason's like the OG of tours and route planning in the Ozarks. He was doing it back in the early 2000s, before overlanding was popular, before a lot of us YouTubers were in the space, back in the pure days. And he reached out to me and said that he was thinking about adding the filming element to his videos, wanted to know if he could hire me to come and document his trip, one of the tours that he's doing. And so that's what I'm doing. So I hope that you guys will stick around. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already. Let's jump into it. This is gonna be a fun one. If you're going to take a group of out-of-towners on an Ozarks tour, you have to hit the Union Schoolhouse. The early settlers, resourceful and resilient, crafted a hewn log schoolhouse using locally sourced materials, a testament to the ingenuity of frontier life in Arkansas. This humble structure, likely built before the Civil War, was a place where generations of children gathered to learn, their education intertwined with the rhythms of rural life. In 1910, tragedy struck when the original schoolhouse burned to the ground. Undeterred, the community rallied around Maddie Maxwell, who generously opened her home to continue classes until the new schoolhouse could be built. It's easy to overlook the stories, structures, and lives that originated in this region, but I feel like I'm on a strange sort of mission to keep that from happening. Our history isn't just a collection of dates and dusty textbooks, it's the story of who we are, how we got here, and why we do the things we do. It's the invisible thread that connects us to generations long past and shapes the path we walk today. These stories are, at their core, the embodiment of the human experience. Our triumphs, our failures, our struggles, our dreams. And just as the past shapes our present, understanding that past shapes our future. So, next time,
before you hit the trails, spend a half hour Googling the history of where you're headed. Read the stories and store them in the back of your mind. I promise you, it'll make your camping trip so much richer.
Whoa. You need to be coming way more driver. You're gonna roll it. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
The dusty roads create a thick haze that catches the sunbeams through the trees. It makes for a cinematic, dreamlike environment that is beautiful on camera. But it clears out after a short hike as you approach Strawberry Bluff. On a clear day, you can see all the way to Russellville. The brown and red patches among the blanket of green is a look we only get a couple weeks out of the year, so you don't want to miss it. After taking in the breathtaking views, we headed to an open area to make lunch and do some light maintenance. There's something sacred about a ham sandwich on a tailgate in the Ozarks. The way the sun dances on the hills, casting shadows that stretch like memories. The air is thick with the scent of pine and earth, a sweet, wild perfume that wraps around you as you sit on the edge of your truck, legs dangling, boots dusted with the soil of the day. The world slows down here. Between bites of a sandwich or a hand-rolled burrito, the kind of simple meal that just tastes richer in the quiet of a valley. The creek sings in the distance, the breeze hums through the trees, and for a moment, it feels like time is paused. We cleaned up and headed east along some Forest Service roads. I had to constantly remind myself to take in the fall foliage. You can get desensitized to it over time, but you have to fight that. It's truly stunning, and one of the things the Ozarks does best. The hills are alive with a kind of quiet brilliance. The leaves turning into flames before they drift softly to the forest floor. Each ridge is wrapped in a quilt of color as the mountains themselves are dressed for a celebration. After a handful of these scenic stops, the plan was to break towards the more technical trails.
tell me you're scared. You tell me you're weak, but I know you're stronger than what you think. And I know it's hard. Yeah, I know it's rough, but we'll make it through. And I'll back you up wherever you're going. I'm going to. I'll follow you through the black and the blue. Whatever the mountain, we'll climb to the next. Honey, I'm with you through life and to death. You're nervous. You say you're afraid. I wish you could see that. Honey, I'm with you through life and to
That was a gnarly day of wheeling yesterday and great time at camp last night. Just got up and got ready, and these fall colors are blowing my mind. Check this out. The one downside is that all of the water crossings, creek beds, everything are bone dry. We actually got like a tiny little sprinkle of rain last night. We need so much more. Someone was telling me this sets a record for a number of days in August, September, and October without rain. So I'm running low on fuel. I'm actually trying to get Starlink up. That's why I'm sitting down here near this creek bed. It's taking longer than usual to do its thing. Would love to check in with the wife before we get back on the trails. And so we'll see if this thing can connect. But I learned a bunch of really cool techniques yesterday. I'm not like a hardcore off-road wheeler, rock crawler. You know, I do the more basic stuff. I kind of avoid obstacles that are too complicated. I'm into finding cool places, camping, telling fun stories. I wouldn't say that I'm into the real technical stuff, but I learned some cool techniques yesterday. They showed me how you could put your left foot on the brake while you're hitting the gas and essentially trick your vehicle into thinking that you have a locker. So in a situation that I pulled up that I was certain I was going to have to winch, I was able to get out on my own using that technique, and that was really cool. Now, again, I said this yesterday, but I'm filming this trip for them, so I'm not prioritizing shooting my own truck. So every single obstacle that you've seen in this video that the other guys have done, I've done those as well, but I'm just not setting up the camera to film my stuff because they're paying me to film theirs, which is completely reasonable. You know, I'm not here for my own stuff, but I'm doing some vlogging basically because I think that it's a cool trip and I thought you guys would enjoy it. And if you are enjoying it, I'd love you to hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, helps me out a lot. But I think Starlink's a no-go. It just says it's still determining alignment. I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the trail. I'll check in later.
over at OARC, as always, had to stop here at the Lookout on the way back to Fayetteville. And absolutely incredible weekend. Jaston Landing with Ozark 4x4. They do tours, they do training, they do all sorts of amazing stuff. And if you're interested in a trip like this, you want to connect with him. Their website is oz4x4.com. I'll put a link down in the description below. And you can go to their website, check out what they do. It's really cool stuff, and he's a great dude. I think that he's got a lot of knowledge to share, and he's someone that you want to connect with if you're looking to get trained or just do a fun weekend. Awesome for new folks, but not just the new folks. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and I had a blast and learned a lot too. The one thing this trip was missing, water. And shortly after returning home, the rain found us. This video just wouldn't be complete without the infamous Ozark waterways. So I grabbed my camper, talked two of my brothers into joining me, and returned to the forest. It was like another planet, nearly unrecognizable from the previous excursion. Cloaked in a thick mist, it felt like a world suspended between dream and reality. The air is soft and heavy, and every breath is laced with the cool, damp earth. The rain falls in whispers, tapping against leaves and stones, a gentle hymn sung by the mountains themselves. Streams and rivers, swollen with the rain, carve their way through the land, their waters dark and swirling, carrying with them the secrets of the sky. The mist curls and weaves through the trees like a living thing, softening the edges of the world, blurring the line between forest and fog, earth and sky. It's as if the land is holding its breath. The rain and waterways speaking in a language older than time, murmuring stories of the deep. In this hidden realm, where everything is shrouded and softened, the soul feels lighter, as if the very air holds a promise of renewal, of being washed clean by the rain, carried away by the endless flow of the rivers that run through the heart of the Ozarks. And see, that's why I had to come back. These waters are as much a defining element of the region as are the bluff shelters or trees. You can't have one without the other. It just doesn't feel complete. But now, with the drought behind us, this place feels like home again. The land is cleansed as the water brings the welcome.
It's so good.
Oh, it is.
If you nasty.
It is perfect. If you nasty.
If you like that.
All right, so hang on. This is the middle. Jacob, you get right on that line. Jordan, you get right in there.
Why don't you hold that since you're in the middle?
There you go. That's the microphone. That's the microphone for you guys because I only have two. The camera's too far away for the. Okay, hang on. Let me see if this is good.
That's the cutest little microphone I ever saw.
Got a little fuzzy top, like a happy
Let me
cat.
switch hands here, so it's right in the middle here.
So we're all holding coffee left-handish.
This tastes like somehow it's both like simultaneously weak and strong.
Yeah, I don't know how we did that, but we did it. It's something special.
Welcome back to Brothers Camping Trip number
3.
3.
Here we are.
This is 2 years in the making.
Has it been 2 years since our last one?
Has it been 3 days?
It's been too long. I know this.
It has been too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, we found a spot on the Piney. The water is here. It was like completely gone last time I was out, and now it is back with a vengeance. So I know of a camping spot down over there. I've actually never even camped up here. Didn't even know this was a spot, and it's sweet. And there's like firewood and coffee
It's a little wet, but you know, not too bad for camping if you nasty.
If you're nasty. I'm gonna do like 600 cuts again on this. So if you ever like wanted to have a good time camping, but just were like, you know, I'm not feeling quite nasty enough. This is the weekend for you.
Yeah. Little foggy, little overcast, little wet.
A little nasty.
Little nasty.
Little nasty.
Can't wait to crawl into bed at night, knowing this is my only outfit and it's muddy and wet, and just lay there with a smile on my face. Because you're nasty.
Your brothers are close.
Sorry, I ruined it.
Because you're nasty.
Some things are worth the wait. This is one of those things.
So anyways, thanks you guys for joining us. This is going to be a fun video, or not. Stick around to the end and find out. But we appreciate you guys are here. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Huzzah.
Hit us with a song, Jordan.
Oof, put me on the spot.
You were made for such a time as this.
What heights of love?
He's got it.
What?
Depths of peace. When fears are still. When striving cease.
I lost this.
My comforter. My all in all. Firm through the fiercest drought and storm.
Magical.
I think that's how we should end it.
I can't explain it, but put me in the same room as any of my brothers and we instantly revert to our adolescent mischievous selves. Ask any of our wives. Where two or more of the brethren are gathered, shenanigans shall ensue. Two things we all agree on: our love of grilled meats and open spaces. Thus, cooking in the Ozarks is what Baker men do best. An added benefit is that we bakers rarely leave leftovers, so cooking cleanup is a breeze. I sauteed up some steak and veggies for fajitas. I like camping meals where you eat the plate, aka tortilla. Simple, tasty, enjoyable. You just can't go wrong with this stuff. And with the sound of the flowing piney serenading us, the crackle of the campfire, it made the feast all the more merry. Good morning. It looks way earlier than it is because of all this fog. It is so beautiful out here. It's actually nearly 9 o'clock. And normally when I come out here to get this kind of hazy morning effect, you got to get up pretty early. But we slept great. And I'm going to walk down here and show you. It's just, I love this. I've actually tried to come out here to the Ozarks before just to capture it looking like this, because it's really like eerie. And let's check this out. You can see the sun is up in the sky. Now, the Piney is way, way higher than it's been the last couple times that we've been out. All the water is higher than it's been. We've got some much needed rain, which lifted our burn ban, which is great. And man, weather's perfect. Great weekend to be out. It is drizzling. It is raining a bit. So that's probably what's keeping this place from just being absolutely packed. But it's gorgeous out here. Every time I find myself out in the Ozarks, or really out camping anywhere, but since the Ozarks where I frequent the most, out in the Ozarks, I find myself experience something completely new. You know kind of what to expect, but inevitably you encounter something new. And this morning, it's this beautiful fog with the temperature, even though it's not particularly early. And I mean, it's one of the reasons I love coming out here.
You get a little something different each time. So here's our camp. You can see we're right up here on this ridge. We're gonna get some breakfast made. Bacon and eggs, nothing crazy. Simple, straightforward, but get a little protein going, and then drink some coffee, and then pack up and hit the trail, do some exploring. I'm glad that you guys are hanging out with us this weekend. Enough talking, let's start cooking.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
Thanks so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it. I enjoy putting these together for you. You know, we are firmly into camping season now here in the Ozarks, and the temperatures are dropping, the leaves are falling, and it's time. It's time, so don't miss it. Get out and enjoy it. Thank you to our members. Appreciate y'all supporting the channel. Throw your names up over here. If you want to become a member, hit that join button here on YouTube. A guy recently asked me about becoming a member. He said he was trying to find the join button and he couldn't, but he was on the app. So just note to you, you gotta be on the desktop version of the site to see that join button. Jump over to the desktop version, hit join, and you can become a member, get access to the benefits we give our members. Most of all that, I mean, we give some benefits, but really that's just your way of saying, I wanna help me make this content. And so I really appreciate you guys. Got some more videos coming out on the channel. If you like this one, this kind of wheeling, just traditional camping video, you can check out this video right up over here, or this one right down here. But more importantly than that, the more you camp, the less deer aliens abduct.